Hi everyone. So before we're going to dive in, I'd like you to imagine, okay? Imagine if Jollibee had only stayed in Quezon City or if SM malls were clustered in Metro Manila, okay? So today, we are exploring chapter 8 about location strategies. So the critical decisions that can determine whether your company thrives or merely survives. So think about why Cebu Pacific chose to base operations in Manila versus Cebu, okay? Or why BPO companies flock to Makati, BGC, and now they are expanding to Clark and Iloilo. So these are not random choices. They are strategic moves using frameworks we will master today. So by the end of this session, you will understand exactly how to analyze the location decisions of the companies you are studying, and more importantly, you will think like the executives making these million peso choices. Okay, so let's start. So now, let us set our roadmap for today. We have three key learning objectives that will transform how you analyze business locations. So first, you will identify and explain the seven major factors that affect location decisions. So you think beyond just cheap rent to understand why Globe Telecom places cell towers where they do, or why Pure Gold chooses specific barangays over others. Second, you will master the factor rating method. It is a powerful tool that helps executives compare locations objectively, like how SM decides between Baguio versus Tagaytay for their next mall. And finally, you will complete you will complete location cost volume analysis both graphically and mathematically. So this is the secret sauce that helps companies like Bench determine their break-even points for new store locations. By mastering these three objectives, you will decode the location strategies of any company you are analyzing. Okay? So let us break down the seven factors that determine where companies set up shop. First, labor productivity. So it is not just about cheap wages, it is about output per peso spent. So think why call centers love Davao over Manila sometimes. Second is the exchange rates and currency risk. This is very crucial for exporters like Emperador Brandy. Okay? Third is the costs. Both obvious ones like rent and hidden ones like corruption. Okay, then fourth, political risks and culture. Why foreign investors study our election cycles. Fifth, proximity to markets. Why fast food chains cluster in malls. And sixth, proximity to suppliers. Why furniture makers concentrate in Cebu. And seven is the proximity to competitors. Yes, sometimes we want to be near our rivals, right? So each factor can make or break a location decision. So let's dive into our first factor, the labor productivity. This is where many companies get it wrong. They see cheap wages in Province A versus expensive wages in Metro Manila and think it is a no-brainer. But here is the catch. What if those cheaper workers produce half the output? Suddenly, your savings become losses. So think about it. A garment worker in Bangladesh earning $3 per day making 10 shirts versus a worker in Vietnam earning $5 per day making 20 shirts. So who is actually cheaper per shirt? Of course, it's Vietnam, right? So this is why companies like Uniqlo do not automatically chase the lowest wages. They chase the best productivity per peso. So your job as analysts is to look beyond the salary figures to the actual output numbers. So now, let us talk about factor number two, the exchange rates and currency risk. This one's a game changer that many overlook. You know, look at this Filipino clothing manufacturer example, okay, on your slide. Look at your slides. They have 5 million pesos to invest. So if they invest in Japan, that converts to just 1.9 million yen. Suddenly, their money feels smaller because the yen is stronger. But in Vietnam, that same 5 million pesos becomes 88 million dollars. So your purchasing power just exploded. But here is the catch. Currencies do fluctuate. What looks profitable today might be a disaster next year if exchange rates shift. So this is why companies like Ayala Corporation carefully study currency trends before expanding internationally. So it is not just about current rates, it is about predicting where those rates might go. So factor three is costs. And this gets interesting because we are not just talking about the obvious ones. Sure, everyone looks at tangible costs. Rent in Makati versus Quezon City, electricity rates in Luzon versus Mindanao. But smart companies dig deeper into intangible costs. So, what is the real cost of dealing with poor internet infrastructure? How much does it cost when your employees cannot find good schools for their kids so your best talent leaves? Think about why tech companies cluster in BGC despite sky high rents. Yes, the rent hurts, but the hidden savings from reliable power, fast internet, and educated workforce often make up for it. So when analyzing your companies, always ask, what are they not telling you about their location costs? So factor four is political risks, values, and culture. So this one's huge but often underestimated. So it is not just about government stability, though that matters. Think about why some international fast food chains struggled in certain provinces where locals prefer traditional food, or why certain retail concepts work in Manila but fail in Mindanao due to different shopping habits. So political risks include sudden policy changes. Remember, when mining companies had to reassess operations after environmental policy shifts. So cultural values matter too. A nightclub chain cannot use the same strategy in conservative areas versus liberal cities. So smart companies study local customs, religious practices, and social attitudes before investing. So when you analyze your companies, look for how they adopt their strategies to different political and cultural environments across regions. So factor five, proximity to markets, or simply being close to your customers. So this one's straightforward but critical. Think about why every major mall has a Jollibee. McDonald's and KFC, they clustered together, right? They want to be where the hungry shoppers are. Or why 7-Eleven stores pop up near schools, offices, and residential areas. It is not coincidence. It is their strategy. Service businesses especially live by this rule because customers won't travel far for convenience. A sari-sari store in the middle of a rice field won't survive no matter how good the prices are. Manufacturing companies also consider this. Why ship heavy products long distances when you can produce near your market? When analyzing your companies, map where their facilities are versus where their customers are. So the pattern will tell you their market strategy. Factor 6 is proximity to suppliers. So this is all about efficiency and freshness. Think about why most bakeries source flour locally rather than importing from another region. Transportation costs would eat their profits. Okay? Or why furniture manufacturers cluster in Cebu near wood suppliers, or why tech assembly plants locate near component suppliers. Okay, so as you can see on your screens right now, it mentions three key reasons: perishability, transportation costs, and bulk materials. So a mango processing plant cannot afford to have mangoes rotting during long truck rides from Mindanao to Manila. Heavy industries like cement or steel locate near raw material sources because shipping rocks and metals is expensive. So when you are analyzing your companies, you have to trace their supply chain backwards. You will often find their locations make perfect sense once you see where their inputs come from. Factor 7 is proximity to competitors. This sounds counterintuitive, but sometimes you actually want to be near your rivals. Think about Ayala malls versus SM malls. They often locate close to each other because they create shopping districts that draw more customers overall. Or look at Eastwood, BGC, or Tigas. Competing office developments cluster together because they share talent pools, suppliers, and infrastructure. It is called clustering. Tech startups flock to areas where other tech companies are because that is where the skilled programmers, investors, and support services are. The competition is intense, but the ecosystem benefits everyone. However, this doesn't work for every businesses. Okay? Two hardware stores on the same block might just cannibalize each other's sales. So the key here is understanding when clustering helps versus hurts your specific industry. So now we move to learning objective 2, the factor rating method. So this is where location decisions get scientific. So instead of just saying, this feels like a good spot, companies use this quantitative technique to systematically compare different locations. Think of it like a report card for cities. You take all those 7 factors we just discussed, assign weights based on what is most important to your business, then score each potential location. A call center might weight skilled workforce heavily, while a manufacturing plant prioritizes transportation costs. So the beauty is it combines hard numbers with subjective judgment. So when Ayala decides between Cebu or Davao for their next development, they are not just guessing. They are using a structured framework that accounts for multiple criteria simultaneously. Okay, so let us see this method in action, starting with step 1. So as you can see, step 1, identify relevant factors for this retail store example. So in here, kindly look at the slide on your screen. Can you look at this table on your screen? So for this retail store example, we have chosen 5 critical area. So we have here the rent cost, the foot traffic, proximity to public transportation, parking availability, and your local competition. Okay, so notice how these are not random. They directly impact a retail store's success. Now look at the weights. Rent gets 30 points because it is make or break for profitability, while local competition only gets 10, since some competition can actually help create shopping districts. Now, location A scores 7 on rent. Location B scores 5. Location B gets 5, but B dominates foot traffic with 9 versus 8 for location A. Now, after multiplying scores by weights, location B wins with 700 total here, 700 total points. So the key insight, this method forces you to define what matters most before you start comparing. So we are here now in step 2. In step 2, we actually assign weights, right? This is out of 100. So this is where you translate your business priorities into numbers. Okay? Now, look at our retail example. As you can see, rent gets 30% of the total weight because it is your biggest expense. Now, foot traffic gets 25% because without customers, nothing else matters. Now, your public transportation gets 20%. Well, decent weight because accessibility drives sales. And your parking gets 15% because helpful but not critical in urban areas. And your local competition is only 10% because some competition can actually boost overall shopping traffic. Okay? So you notice these weights must add to 100, forcing tough decisions. So you cannot make everything very important. You have to rank what truly drives success. So different businesses would weight this completely differently. A luxury boutique might flip foot traffic and parking weights compared to a convenience store. Okay? Okay, so step 3, we are here, step 3. So in step 3, we establish a rating scale. We use a 1 to 10 scale where 1 is poor and 10 is excellent. So we develop a consistent scoring system. So example 1 to 10 or could be 1 to 100 to evaluate each location's performance or individual factors. So location A, as you can see, gets a 7. Maybe it is moderately expensive but acceptable. And then location B for the rent cost gets 5. Well, probably quite pricey for the budget. Now let's look at the foot traffic. In the foot traffic, location Location A scores 8. Maybe it has a good customer flow, while location B gets 9. Well, excellent visibility and pedestrian traffic. So the key is being consistent with your scale. So a score of 6 should A score of 6 should mean the same thing whether you are rating parking or competition. So some companies prefer 1 to 100 scales for more precision, but 1 to 10 is easier to understand and apply. So the important thing is everyone on your team interprets the numbers the same way. And now in step 4, we score each location on every factor using a 1 to 10 scale. So this is where you evaluate the actual sites. Okay, so just like what we had in the previous slide, for rent, location A gets 7. Maybe because it is around 50,000 pesos monthly. Well, reasonable but not cheap. In location B, it gets only 5, perhaps because 80,000 pesos, so it's quite expensive. Okay, so you notice how location A is better on cost factors, while location B excels on customer related factors like foot traffic and transportation access. So these scoring requires actual research, so it requires site visits, rent negotiations, and traffic counts. So you are not guessing. You should not be guessing, okay? You are gathering data and translating it into comparable scores. So now we are on step 5. We calculated the weighted scores by multiplying each score by its weight, okay? We multiply weight to score. Now take rent costs locations. Location A score of 7 times the weight of 30. So it gets 210 points. And location B is lower because it is because it is 5 times 30, so it is equal to 150. So that is a 60-point difference. Okay, but I want you to look at the foot traffic. So the foot traffic in location B is 9 times 25, the weight. So it is equal to 225 compared to your location A, wherein your location A is only 200. So the beauty is every factor gets weighted according to its importance. So a small difference in a high weight factor like rent creates a big gap, while the same difference in low weight competition barely matters. So after that, you add up all the weighted scores. So as we can see, location A gets 645, while location B have 700. So clearly, location B wins. So the method turns the method turns our subjective feelings into objective comparisons. So the sixth step is we compute total scores by adding up all the weighted scores. Okay, well, we have discussed this already. And we know already that location B strength is actually, that location B is the winner. And if we will see it one by one, the strength of location B actually comes from the foot traffic. And aside from that is also the foot traffic and the transportation. Okay, so yeah, that's it. So this actually shows why the factor rating method is very powerful. It prevents us from making decisions based on just one or two criteria. So this is a systematic approach that reveals that location B, despite higher rent, it delivers better overall value when all factors are considered. Okay, so our step 7 is we rank alternatives based on their total scores. So as we have said earlier, location B wins with 700 points versus location A with only 645 points. But here is what makes this method valuable. The decision is not just B is better. You can see exactly why B won and by how much. So that is 55-point gap. which tells you this is not a close call. So if you had 3 or 4 locations, you would have ranked them all from highest to lowest score. So this ranking gives management confidence in their choice and helps them communicate the decision to stakeholders. So instead of saying like we picked location B because it felt right, you can say location B scored 8.5% higher on our weighted criteria. So the factor rating method transforms gut feelings into defensible business decisions backed by our systematic analysis. So there you have it. This is the complete factor rating method in action. What makes this technique so powerful for location decisions? Well, it forces you to be explicit about what matters to your business, prevents single factor bias, and creates defendable decisions. So notice how location B won despite having higher rent costs. The method revealed that customer access factors outweighed cost savings. So this is exactly what you will need when analyzing your companies this semester. So I want you to look for how they weight different location factors. A luxury retailer will prioritize differently than a manufacturing plant. Okay, so the factor rating method transforms location strategy from guesswork into systematic analysis. Now you have the framework to decode any company's location logic and evaluate whether their choices align with their stated priorities. Okay, look, so the table tells a story. The weight column, that is you putting your money where your mouth is, literally deciding what matters most to your business. So those score columns are where you get real about each location. No sugarcoating. But watch what happens in those weighted columns. That is where your priorities bite back. Rent cost jumps from A7 to 210 points because you said it was important. Foot traffic goes from 9 to 225 because customers drive revenue. When you add it all up, location B crushes location A by 55 points. Now, when your investors ask why you chose that pricey location, you don't shrug and say, gut feeling. You point to the numbers and say, our data-driven analysis shows it delivers 8.5% better value. So locational cost volume analysis is a technique used to evaluate potential business locations by examining how costs change with different production or sales volumes at each site. So this method helps companies determine which location offers the lowest total costs for their expected level of operations. Okay, so learning objective 3, this is the cost volume analysis. So here, so okay, so here how it works in 4 steps. So step 1, we identify your fixed costs like rent and insurance that stays the same whether you make 100 or 10,000 units plus variable costs like materials and labor that grow with production. Now in step 2, we create a graph or a mathematical model. Okay, so we create a graph plotting total costs against production volume for each location. So you will see different costs lines for different places. Now we go to step 3. Now in step 3, we figure out your expected production volume. Say for example, are you planning 5,000 units or 50,000? Now in step 4, we compare total costs at that volume to see which location wins. Okay? So, but here's the kicker. The winner changes based on volume. Location A might be cheaper for low production, but location B dominates at high volumes, okay? So there is a crossover point where the lines intersect. Here is our problem, okay? A company that manufactures smartphones is considering 2 locations for a new factory, City A and City B. So they want to determine which location will be most cost effective based on their expected production volume. Okay? Through forecasting. So City A fixed costs is $500,000 per year. That includes your rent, equipment, and others. And your variable costs is $100 per smartphone. And then City B, your fixed costs is $800,000 per year. And your variable costs is $80 per smartphone. Let us walk through this cost volume analysis solution systematically. First, focus on my pointer. We established the total cost equations for each city. Now we have here City A. So City A's total cost is equal to $500,000. That is the fixed costs, plus your $100 times the number of smartphones produced, or we used here the variable X, okay? And the City B's total cost equals $800,000 fixed costs plus $80 times production volume, okay? Now let's proceed to the second one. We find the crossover point by setting both equations equal to each other. So meaning total cost of City A is equal to the total cost of City B. So we write here $500,000 plus $100x is equal to $800,000 plus $80x. So then we solve step by step. So we subtract $500,000 from both sides to get $100,000 x equals $300,000 plus 80x. Okay? So next, we subtract 80x from both sides. So $20 x equals to 300, we are here already, equals to 300,000 x. Finally, we divide by 20 to get x. So in this case, we have solved for x, that x is equal to 15,000 smartphones. So now we go to the third one. In the third one, we actually verify our answer by substituting back into both equations. So City A at at 15,000 units. So $500,000 plus $1,500,000 is equal to $2 million Okay? And this is the continuation for the City B. So as you can see, when we substituted here the 15,000 units, so it is really equal it still have the same total cost with city A. So that means our equation is right. Okay. So now let's go to number 4. So in number 4, we graph the total costs. So let's plot this on our graph and see what happens visually. So look at these two lines here, okay? They tell a story. City A starts way down at $500,000. Okay, what is our CTA? The CTA here is the one that is in red inked. Okay, so it starts with $500,000 but climbs faster, like a steep hill, because every phone costs you $100 more. How about CTB? So CTB, it is like starting higher up the mountain at $800,000, but the climb is easier with only $80 with only $80 per phone. Okay, so watch. So you notice where this line meets, and here, boom, right at 15,000 phones and $2 million. So that is your magic crossover point where both cities costs exactly the same. Okay, so now let's go to number 5. So in number 5, let's see some real numbers and see who wins at different volumes. So picture this. You are planning to make 5,000 phones. City A hits $1 million, while City B costs $1.2 million. Then City A wins. Bump it up to 10,000 phones. So City A is still cheaper at $1.5 million versus $1.6 million. But here is where it gets interesting. Crank up production to 20,000 phones and suddenly City B only costs $2.4 million, while City A jumps to $2.5 million. So the table have turned. City B's lower variable costs finally pay off at higher volumes. So this is actually the conclusion that is written here. Okay, so let's read this one. City A is more cost effective up to 15,000 smartphones. At 15,000 smartphones, total costs of City A and City B are equal. Above 15,000 units, City B becomes more cost effective. And that is a wrap on location strategies. You now have the tools that billion peso companies use to make their biggest decisions. Remember, location is not just about finding cheap rent or nice views. It is about understanding the 7 factors that drive success, using the factor rating method to compare options systematically, and applying cost volume analysis to find your break-even points. So when you analyze your companies, okay, your chosen companies this semester, look beyond where they are and ask why they are there. What factors did they prioritize? What trade-offs did they make? And how do their locations support their overall strategy? So these frameworks will help you think like the executives making these decisions. Now, I want you to practice with real companies, okay? So you have chosen companies already. Question their choices and you will master location strategy, okay? So now go out there and decode some location mysteries. See you on our next discussion.